in 2 days, winners of the governorship election will receive their certificates of return, cementing their victory. Well, they will then begin the task of fulfilling the several promises made on the campaign train. We're joined now by one of these governors-elect, Plateau State's Caleb Mutfwang. Christian, you have the first shot.
All right, thanks very much, Mutfwang, for joining us on News Night. Well, the battle has been fought and won. So tell us, what's the next plan? What's the agenda? 4-point agenda, 5-point agenda. Plateau State needs rebuilding, uniting the people, and taking care of security there. Tell us.
Thank you, Christian and Ngozi. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening, and good evening, Nigerians. Yes, when the elections have come and gone, like you rightly said, by Thursday we'll receive the certificate of return in Jos. Thereafter, we would commence the transition program to May 29th. We are looking basically at two broad issues: peace and prosperity. Peace is about restoring security to Plateau State, making sure that one of the fundamental reasons why we are coming into government is to ensure the safety of lives and property. And we are putting in measures in place to ensure that the insecurity narrative on the plateau is quickly reversed as much as possible. And then we will be looking at the issues of prosperity, which is about economic development. We're looking at how to ensure that we build the plateau economy beyond federal allocation. We would be looking at key economic drivers like agriculture, tourism, mining, and general commerce to drive the economy. From there, of course, we hope and we expect that we should be able to improve on our internally generated revenue capacity so that we can be able to fund the social sector, education, health, youth empowerment, women empowerment, and so on and so forth. This, in a nutshell, is what we'll be focusing on in the days to come.
Well, apparently it looks like you're going to be having quite a lot on your plate, Mr. Governor-elect. Let's talk about the issue of security. Of course, every other thing is built on the state of security or the lack of it. The current governor actually says the issue of insecurity in Plateau State is somewhat over-exaggerated. I wonder what you think of that. Do you agree? And what exactly would be your approach to fix insecurity in Plateau State so that these lofty ideals of yours can be realized?
Very well. I'm not too sure that the citizenry would agree that the issue of insecurity is exaggerated. I want to think that there is a general pervasive feeling of insecurity across the state. We need to look at that very honestly and sincerely and deal with it. What are we doing differently? I think first and foremost, we need to restore confidence in the citizenry. We need to make people to believe in government again. What has happened over the last couple of years is that people have lost faith in government. They do not believe that government is even looking out for them. We need to restore that confidence. That would then dovetail into trying to build, resuscitate, and rebuild the security architecture from the grassroots, making sure that communities take charge of their destinies, and they have many opportunities to do that through the vigilante groups, through the hunters groups, and so on and so forth. But very critical is that we must be able to restore both intra and inter-community relationships so that we can go back to the spirit of being one another's keeper. And that would reduce to a large extent the conflicts that generate this insecurity. Of course, we'll be looking at how to deal with the issues of criminality that are associated with insecurity. So we'll be working hand in hand with the federal security forces, the agencies of the federal government. We'll be working more closely with them. And I think they need to see more empathy on our part so that they can be able to deliver on the expectations of the people. In between, we have the Operation Rainbow that had existed on the Plateau. At the moment, it's on its knees. It's hardly functioning. We're going to ensure we bring it back to life so that it can quickly gather evidence. It can gather information that can be used to quickly nip all these insecurity issues in the bud.
All right, good plans you have there, but some people will say that you're coming with vengeance into governance when you considered how in less than 1 year as chairman of your local government, you were removed by the outgoing governor. Will you be bringing vengeance as the chairman? Will you be bringing vengeance to governance? Will you be uniting a fragmented people, fragmented with the lack of them being owed several months' salaries, pension arrears, and the rest? A people fragmented by the herders-farmers clashes that is almost a recurring phenomenon. Mr. Governor-elect?
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Certainly, I have gone past whatever the governor did to me. What is the daunting challenges facing the state of such magnitude that we cannot waste time on frivolities. The spontaneous reactions of the people, their breakout in joy and singing shows that the expectations are quite high, and we cannot waste time settling personal scores when the lives of our people are at stake. So I want to assure the people of Plateau State that I'm thoroughly focused on rebuilding the state, on building the blocks of unity, so that together we can move as a people. I do not have the energy to dissipate on personal issues. All I can assure you is that we would restore confidence in government. We'll ensure that we bring back due process. We are not going to go after anybody, but if we meet infractions on our way, we'll deal with them in accordance with the extant rules and regulations.
Very quickly, let's talk about the economy. Of course, you say agriculture, tourism, solid minerals exploitation will be part of what you'll be doing to, revamp the economy. Let's talk about the development tax that was put in place not too long ago by the sitting government, 300 naira per head per annum. Are you going to be doing away with that, or will you continue that, considering the fact that to some people, 300 naira a year may not be too much?
Well, I don't want to fall into that temptation of figures and statistics at the moment. The reality is that the poverty level on the plateau as at now is quite alarming. And what we need to do in the immediate is to how to ensure that we put money back into people's pockets. But it's not going to be an arbitrary figure you put. We're going to ensure that we put money back into the hands of our farmers to reflate the economy. Once they can be able to farm, they can be able to get their products to the market, they will get value for what they have farmed. We believe that they will smile to the banks. And so what we are targeting at the moment, I can tell you that the internally generated revenue of Plateau State government, only about 20% of it comes from commerce, from business. We want to move that graph from 20%. Hopefully in the next 2 years, we can move it to 50% so that we can. Now that is only going to happen when the economy gets going, when businesses are thriving, and when farmers can be able to sell their products at good prices in the markets. Now this will be our general focus. rather than targeting figures that are arbitrary.
All right, rather than targeting figures that are arbitrary. And one of such figures, when I raised, would have been your internally generated revenue, less than 30 billion a year. How? Beyond, well, Plateau is really known for farming, a lot of mineral resources. Would you be applying to the federal government as a cooperative for licenses to tap into the wealth in the soil of Plateau? 2, you've not told us, how are you going to pay those arrears of pensioners, salaries being owed? How are you really going to regenerate that economy?
Well, thank you. We have a debt now, which is about 200 billion, which may rise to about 250 billion. So you're going to discover that our credit rating is very low, and we need to work on that immediately. There's no rocket science or voodoo to turn it around except to generate income. And the only way you can generate income is by investing in people, investing in businesses so that they can be able to generate money and pay taxes. So we are looking at agriculture, for example, that we should be able to come in to help use the goodwill of government, help our farmers to get better inputs at premium prices, and be able to ensure that the losses in the farming season are reduced to the barest minimum so that our productivity level can rise. Thereafter, we'll be looking at, in the medium term, how we can be able to expand the agricultural season beyond the rainy season, and hopefully we can expand the value chain of the agricultural sector. Now, when we do this, it's going to create employment along the line, and from there, I can assure you that the revenue into government coffers would rise. And it is from there that the creditor confidence will be restored, and we will be able to reschedule, restructure some of those debts, and certainly will get more money to reflect the economy. As to the mining sector, we are going to partner with the federal government to ensure that we get licenses that we can operate with joint partners to be able to ensure that we get more revenue to government. But beyond that, all the existing mining activities on the plateau are going to be properly supervised and make sure that all the taxes that those businesses are supposed to pay are paid as and when due.
All right, thank you so much. Plateau State Governor-elect of the PDP, Caleb Mutfwang, a barrister. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight tonight.